Hi, good afternoon. It's Bobby Silver once again with Sudden Admiral. This is part two of a series that I've started, taking some of your questions and trying to answer as many of them as I can. The one thing that keeps coming up over and over again is, how can I possibly save enough money to purchase my first house? And I'm one of these believers that everybody should have the opportunity and a chance to buy a house, that it not be so godforsaken, unaffordable, that none of us will ever have the opportunity. So there's a couple things. I, as an agent, would love to educate everyone on what it really takes to buy a house, and how we can position ourselves that one day that dream becomes possible. So I think we all have to set our expectations a little bit lower. I think we have to be a lot more realistic as to what it actually costs to do it. And three, decide if owning a house is the end all, if that's our goal. Listen, when our parents bought homes, they were $25,000 40, 50 years ago. That same house today is now realistically probably $1.5 million, $1.6 million. Still the same house sitting on the foundation, bricks, windows. Nothing's changed. The only thing that's changed is that piece of earth that they're putting that house on today. That 50-foot lot, now it's acceptable to be a 25-foot lot. Everything seems to be getting smaller. The portions in a restaurant seem to be getting smaller. The seats in an airplane seem to be getting smaller. And obviously, the real estate that we're putting our beautiful house on is getting smaller. However, the cost of everything just keeps escalating. And they can blame it on inflation, blame it on whatever you want. It's a realistic scenario. There's a couple things that affect the pricing. Obviously, the currency. We have a lot of people moving to this country, which is wonderful, but the fact is that their dollar is worth substantially more than the Canadian dollar. So, $500,000 to us might be $250,000 to them. Someone that's used to coming from a country where, living in a 300, 400 square foot house is wonderful. We're spoiled. We're not used to that here. So it's making it more difficult for somebody living in this country, or possibly just moving to this country, to go and purchase that first house and then be faced with all these unexpected charges on top. So when somebody buys a house for $1 million, it really isn't costing them $1 million. It's costing them $1,050,000 because of the land transfer tax. Plus, you add on all your other expenses. Next thing you know, you're in for $1.1 million. So, everything is relative. But there has to be an even playing ground. And I felt that a 50-foot lot in Scarborough should cost the same as a 50-foot lot in Etobicoke, the same as a 50-foot lot in Newmarket. Somebody shouldn't be penalized because it may not be their first house, they're moving into their second or third house. So there's got to be a reasonable amount of taxes to cover all the substructure that goes into it, the sewers, the drains, the hydro hookups, whatever it be. But at least let's have an even playing ground, and at least let's make it affordable so that people have a dream and they have a chance. If you don't give people a chance, you know what's going to happen? The market's going to crash because nobody is going to be able to afford it. And if it means feeding your kids or living in a house, well, you don't have much choice, okay? So we have to lower our expectations. At the same token, if somebody is going to help us, and the government keeps preaching that they want to do everything without building on the greenbelt, well, listen, there's no shortage of real estate out there, and they seem to make way for what they want.